What's going on today? We're talking about the recent Microsoft Exchange server vulnerability that hit so far 30,000 servers worldwide. So all of you know what is Microsoft Exchange server, which is the server responsible for creating and managing corporate emails for your organization. So basically, what's all the buzz around this? So as you can see, the vulnerability affects only on-premises versions of Microsoft. If you're using the cloud Office 365, you're fine. So this zero-day vulnerability affects only on-premises versions of Microsoft Exchange Server. Now, what is the impact of this vulnerability? The impact of this vulnerability is the attackers can access email accounts and can extend their attack by installing additional malwares so that they maintain long-term access to your environment. The CVE numbers are, as you can see below. In total, there are 4 CVE numbers. All of them are related to the recent Microsoft zero-day exploit Exchange server. So again, it's only for on-premises installations. If you're using the cloud, you're not vulnerable. Now, let's talk about how to know if you are compromised. So basically, as you can see, Microsoft has released several links that you can look into to find if you are vulnerable and what to do with the mitigations, the patches. But let's summarize them in manageable chunks. So if you are an analyst, if you are the system admin, whatsoever, you can just apply them easily. Now, first, let's talk about investigating and patching on-premises Microsoft Exchange server for this vulnerability. Now, first, we would like to check if the server is compromised automatically. We would like to run a tool to check if the server is compromised. So, the first thing, we can download the test ProxyLogon from GitHub. You can find it in the following link. It is here. You can just go ahead and download the script from here, or you can just copy paste it. Once you download the script, all you have to do is to go to your command prompt. The next phase is to launch the command prompt and type the below command to launch Exchange Management Shell. So go to your command prompt, type launch EMS to launch the Exchange Management Shell. The next step is to launch the below command to start running the tool. So get Exchange server, then the test ProxyLogon that you have just downloaded, and you put an output path for the results. For example, the output path here is in the logs. Now, if you want only to test the local server without testing all of the servers you have, you can just launch the command prompt and run the tool only without specifying get Exchange server. So just run the tool from command prompt and send the output to the logs. So basically, that's how you can check if the server is compromised automatically. Now, what if you want to check the server if it is compromised using manual method? So we will have to do that manually. We'll have to check the following paths, right, in the Exchange server to see if they exist. And by judging the results, we can say that if it is compromised or not. As you can see, most of the locations we would look at are in program files, Microsoft Exchange Server, P15, depends on the version you have, of course, front end, HTTP proxy, OWA, which is the Outlook authentication, and look for the following files. If these following files do exist in the mentioned paths, then most probably you are infected with this vulnerability. Or you are not infected, your server is compromised. So, an additional paths to look at, as you can see, this is the web server directory, IIS web server. Look at the following files, see if you have them. Unless you have created them on purpose, if they do exist, it means that your server is compromised. And as you can see here, yeah, this is the same path. So you have to look in the Microsoft Exchange HTTP proxy OWA path, or look at the web server directory path. ASP.NET Client, this one. Look at these files. Now you can find these indicators of compromise. Let's find them. So you can find them in this link. All of them are here. Now, next step, after we have just analyzed and determined if the server is compromised automatically or manually, it's time to see or check for mitigations. Suppose that we are compromised, we want to apply patches or mitigations. Now, not all the time you can apply the updates that Microsoft released. Sometimes you cannot update your version of Microsoft Exchange Server. Sometimes we have additional installations connected to the Microsoft Exchange, and by installing the update, you may break other stuff. So you have two options. You can either patch the vulnerability by applying the updates, or you can just apply temporary mitigations. Okay. Now let's say that you want to apply temporary mitigations. All right. So basically, you have to download the mitigation script. Now, mitigation script can be found at this link. How to find this? Let's go down. Okay, so the mitigation script can be downloaded by following in the same link where the testing script exists. So basically, you just have to download Exchange mitigations, right? And from this link, it's the same link. And then from the command prompt, run the following command, specifying the default website, which is the website connected to your Microsoft Exchange, apply all mitigations dash verbose. If you run this tool, or if you run this, it will temporarily mitigate your server, but it is not permanent solution. You may still be vulnerable for later stages of the attack. So the best bet is to patch the vulnerability. Now, how to patch it completely? Microsoft has released a web page where you can see all of the updates. Now, personally, you can I would look in the below link for list of patches. Now, the below link contains the list of all of the patches. You can find them in this link. So, as you can see here, these are the links for the patches according to version. If you are 2010, 13, 16, 19, you just have to click on the link that corresponds to the version you have of Microsoft Exchange. And for example, download the MSP file and run it. Now, download the MSP file is very easy. You just have to download the rollup from here and then open the command prompt. As you can see, type the full path of the MSP file that you have just downloaded and press enter and you'll apply the update. Now, what if you don't want to deal with all of that? You can just enable automatic updates in Windows, and the Windows will receive the updates automatically and download it. Now, the last piece of info here is for penetration testers. Now, how to test if your client is vulnerable without accessing their environments? Now, we have seen how to test if the server is compromised by launching a testing script, right? But that assumes you have got access to the server, assumes you are in the shoes of an investigator or analyst who wants to test if their client is infected or if the server is compromised. Now, what if your client has an Exchange server and they want you to conduct a pen test without accessing their environment? And you know that they run Microsoft Exchange on premises, and you know that it has an exploitable vulnerability in the wild now. What do you do? So here we come to the point, how to test if your client is vulnerable without accessing their environments. So what you have to do is to use Nmap. Download the below Nmap script and store it in the user shared Nmap scripts. Now, this script can be found at the below link. As you can see here, just click on that, open new tab, it will be downloaded automatically, and then you can just run Nmap, specifying -- script, and specify the script. So basically what we would do here, we would say Nmap -v-a, for example, -- script equal and of course, here your target IP. So we run this command and we test if your client, of course, in the context of pen testing, is vulnerable or if their server is vulnerable to this recent vulnerability. This vulnerability is very critical. If you have on-premises Microsoft Exchange, it is very recommended you patch, because if you don't patch, attackers will be able to access your email boxes, and later on they may be able to access the entire server. So I will put down all of the links in the video description, and I hope you like this. See you in the next video.